Well, the YouTube website here. Gonna go over some stuff from the Zodiac movie. Zodiac Killer movie that I have here that I made a little folder of. Mind you, as you can see clearly, and here that we have some signature, and I believe these are probably photocopied from the original or even copied or whatever, but I'm sure they were photocopied and used in the movie. Come to find out, there was a couple that I believe they might have been like professors at a college or something, but literally when they saw this back in 1968, supposedly the first letter sent from the Zodiac Killer, and they went off to decipher this code. Mind you, these letters, yeah, they do look like letters, but the letters are very, different. And supposedly, right, these letters would be different in the alphabet. Say, so B or H as you're looking at the end, K, but you get a backwards K. I know the Zodiac sign itself, right there, I believe it's either a B, used as a B or a D. But even the letters themselves, P-O-R, X, are not the letters. They're, cryptic letters that indicate another letter, if you get that. It's the best way I can explain it. And like I say, yes, you do need to know also a lot of mathematical mechanics to really want to get deep into this cryptic stuff. But not only that, in the movie though, they did show how to decrypt. And this is very awesome. But as you can see, as we start off with Z being an E, a K being an S, Q being an M, backward P-E, and so forth, H-I-T, the, and I don't know, what the hell, hang on a sec. Yeah, so this is the beginning of it, this is the ending of it, I believe. Well, this is the ending of it. There are 3 things, but I only took down, 2, and I believe down here are the letters that I said I was looking for. That would be the last letters that I said in my last video that no one decrypted. They couldn't get nothing out of them, letters. And come to find out, in the movie they have a Zodiac dictionary or alphabet. Zodiac alphabet book, mind you. And the guy also pulled out a decode book in the movie. But yeah, a Zodiac alphabet, which he claims, right, the Zodiac Killer used to make his words into sentences. Because as you can see down here, because, V-Z-E-G-Y-K-E. Most likely know that does not spell because, but if them are the Zodiac alphabet letters, well then there you go, decrypted. But why they had a difficult time thought I got them letters. I thought this was because you will try to slow down or stop me. Oh, I thought I got them damn letters. I must have missed them, you jerk. Was it on the other one? Oh, damn. Yeah, this went too fast and I missed them bottom letters they were speaking of. I'll have to go back. Ah! No biggie. Oh, no, there they are. There they are. These ones are it. Sorry. Right here. So as you can clearly see, as the guy in the movie was pointing down, what are these? And then it was Robert Downey Jr. That was the one, that played the part of one of the detectives. But there was not the detective. Yeah, one of the reporters from the newspaper that the Zodiac kept, sending his letters to. The ones he wanted them to put on the news. But mind you, one of the people from the newspaper was just a comic book, or say so, comic drawer for the newspaper. So if anybody don't know about that, he'd put in like buildings and helicopters, so forth, or fires and stuff, and make drawings of something that tragically probably could have happened at that time, but would make it into a comic type series looking thing. It was pretty cool. But as soon as he saw this, and he was very highly interested in it, due to the fact that he was into it more than the other people were, and he was saying things just out of spite. And one of them was to say he ain't gonna give his name in that. And Robert Downey Jr. was like, how did you know that? And, and thereforth. So, with that being said, that Zodiac Killer boy did take his time, going through stuff. And one of the people that did survive the attack was stabbed in the back, in the leg, I think even also in the thigh, and he was with a girl. They showed how that killing went down. They was, having a little picnic type thing, little get together, rendezvous, whatever, enjoying the nice summer day. And he comes up with a gun, and of course that's the one we had the Zodiac sign literally printed on his chest, looking like he was in a combat type war suit, say so, and some face mask, with sunglasses outside of it so they couldn't see his eyes, of course. But to me it looked like some type of military suit, which it does claim that there was a type of military boot back then that you could not buy, only with a military ID that he wore. But that thought theory idea, and if you think about it, he could have killed a military person to get them items. So I mean, it is kind of funny though, because as brilliant as he was ciphering these letters and taking the time, but then again, he obviously had to have been using a dictionary or an alphabet book, as I should say, like the cartoonist guy said in the movie. Which so far, this movie, is pretty well detailed. I would say it was rightfully made the right way in respect of all families. And I'm sure a lot of them still ain't survivaled either, but damn. the horror that this guy brought, let alone, they only have 5 down on record of how many kills he did, but lo and behold how many more he could have done that they don't know about. I mean, this guy, right, left witnesses to taunt the police. And to say, like I say, if this guy was one of them people that could have been, had money, got bored with life, maybe, just wanted to walk out one day and just, like any other person in this world that sits there and says, I wonder what it was like to kill somebody. You know how, like, they put that in the new Michael Myers movies, franchise they got going on there. In the first one, his doctor, after Loomis comes in and he tries killing the cop. See how it feels. Maybe become friends with Michael Myers. But yeah, this only one can know. Only one cannot know what is really deeply disturbed in the mind of a serial killer is right. Especially this guy. And I think these are the words that still haunt, the people that would say, right, what does this mean? As you can see, you can't even put B4 with this one because there's no F. Meth. Meth. Pit. It's about, I wonder if that is a word, pit. But, and then you got a triangle type character, ciphered word that could be an I or a W. So, I mean, looking at these letters and trying to, sit there, will ever I get the opportunity to do something with this? And something about these blocks and how they're colored in and got the double L's due to the fact that this this killer, likes to talk about kill all the time, right? All depends what his life was like also what it means. So this kid, this cartoonist, starts trying to write out maybe a Hemphil, Robert Hemphil, maybe names. I couldn't get this word, and I forget how it was spelled, but he wrote out another name, and then he wrote out the hippie in the bottom one. So, I mean, as he jumps into this case and tries to portray something and pull something out of that cryptic lettering, that obviously that one has not been, decrypted yet, as far as I know. But I mean, this movie is well beyond its imagination. Now, this one was not decrypted in the movie. So, what I did, I took a picture of that. And I took a picture of course, I had to get the top half. Because no matter how I did it, I couldn't get the full, sheet of paper. And so I had to do this. They only show this, and then they show this. So I had to sit there and go back and forth and put it on perspective. And of course, this one has already been deciphered. This was their first letter, like I said, and this is what came out of this. All this, right? Talking about his afterlife, how he likes to kill, but he don't like to kill. He needs to stop. And, someone needs to stop him, but catch me if you can type thing. So, I mean, this guy, right, on the edge of, making everybody's insanity kick in. Now, one thing about this man I was going to say is that whether or not he had that dictionary to write out them, words, he was not very a good speller, he was. So, I mean, right here, as you're sitting there right in sight, or whether he's talking about a machine that he made, a death machine, whether or not it's stored in my garage or whatever, and it would be for food use. Now in the movie, the guys calls him up as he's reading this, which would be, there's another detective, the guy who plays on 13 going on 30. Pretty cool actor he is. I like him. I forget his name though. Sorry. But he is reading this and asking the other detective, which is a cool guy, like one of the original Revenge of the Nerds. Lewis is in this movie too. But as he was reading it to Lewis, I'll call him, the detective, and said, "What the hell is for freeway use? For future use," he says on the phone, and then he says something else. But as you can see, the guy ain't good unless, he was trying to make up words too while spelling to screw you up. As if for fuet. I did come up with a friggin' word for that one. For, it wasn't future, but for, what was it? Fuet. What is that word? Fuent. Fuent? Is that what I'm thinking? Fuent? There was another word I came up with this for too. But of course I wasn't doing my video at the time, and now I forgot it. But for future, fuent. That one just came on my head. I've heard that name before, or the word fuent. I mean, you could think of him. There was another word I came up with. Hopefully I can remember it later on. But like I said, this guy was a lousy speller, or just doing it on purpose. As you can see, the friggin' writing, how he does it. I mean, it just, you just sit there and one would sit there to wonder, is this guy really smart as he think he is? To reroute. Looks like we wrote down there. Because it looks like a boat. Wrote. R-O-A-T, but this just gives you an idea of what they're dealing with and what everyone was dealing with. I mean, here's another message. And he's talking about how have you, deciphered my last message. Now he gets this in here saying my name is. So if you were to go back to the words that I took picture of and match them up with these, I can just imagine what he put down for a name. And then here you see serious. I am mildly serious or curious as to how much money you have on my head. Yeah, curious. So here he is spelling curious. It looks like serious. It looks like, serious spelt with a C. But it's supposed to be curious. But I mean, this guy, man, it just makes you wonder. Then he picks up some girl with a baby, but did not know the baby was in the car. And this friggin' woman, man, another one that's seen him. Full description. Didn't even wear a mask. And he pulls the woman over and tells her that her friggin' right rear tire is loose. Well, I can help you tighten that. Of course, she says, oh, thank you, and lets him go fart around with her. Now, she did look in the mirror, and you can see him pulling upward on the lug nut bar. So if you're sitting, staring at the car, right from left, righty tighty, lefty loosey, right, he was going up with the lug nut wrench. But of course, when she took off, not even 5 minutes down the road, the friggin' wheel falls off. You see sparks flying out the road. She pulls over. He literally backs back up. Must have been waiting. Of course. Oh, I'll give you a ride to the nearest station. So, of course, vulnerable and confused now of what the man really did. He's like, oh, there must have been, he's selling all this crap. Must have been worse than what I thought. Okay. If this woman didn't have the decency to think, oh, this guy just loosened my lug nuts because she was driving. And then he starts shooting her his lights, tooting the horn. And the car was driving fine all up until that point. So what does she do? Get in the car with him, drive down the road, and he says, oh, I didn't have you, you didn't know you had a baby. She goes, why, is that a problem? He goes, no. The more the merrier, he says. Wow. But this lady down the road, lights up a cigarette. He's telling her it's bad to smoke. It's like, wow, it's bad to kill, but what are you doing? Fucking gonna lecture someone about smoking? What a character. But this woman literally obviously saw his face because they didn't show it with no mask covered up. He had glasses. He had his crew cut. Of course, they didn't visibly show all his face. They always kept it in the dark because, of course, they can't give out a perfect face expression, cuts, scars or whatever they need to see. They just give a dark-faced figure. But you can see it, but not too clear. And still these people couldn't get it right. And this woman jumped out his goddamn car and rolled down the hill with a baby in her arms, stuffed him in the woods. She, hauled down a friggin' tractor trailer. Then a woman was there, and she's screaming, my baby, screaming, ah. But yet two people there stopped to help her. She wouldn't go near neither one of them. And then the lady came by and was like, what's the matter? Ah. She's like, my baby. Then she goes and runs and gets him out of the woods. It's like, what the hell? But once again, there was a perfect shot, witnessed everything of the man, and still he could not get caught. And then you got two, I would say, patrolmen that seen the suspect, but due to the fact that someone said it was a black male, oh, black male has just robbed a car. And I believe that might have came from the kids. Now, here's a screwy thing, but they were saying teenagers saw this happen across the street in an article. But supposedly there was a younger kid and maybe a teenager or, a middle kid. And they were actually looking out of a bedroom window. And I think the oldest was a girl, the middle was a boy, and the youngest was I think a girl. They didn't show the kids though, but they were saying teenagers kids across the street saw this, but didn't say how, where in the article, or even how old they were. But I mean, they did get a description, but them ones were like, there weren't no help, because they said, oh, what do you look like, normal? So I mean, they were young and they couldn't even give a real, so I don't even know when the actual description's gonna come in the movie, It's a friggin' 2-hour movie. I'm only 40 minutes into it, but, you know, this guy had big kahunas to be walking around letting his face get seen. But what does that matter? Because, you know, back then, yeah, technology wasn't good. Damn it. Excuse me. And yeah, it was like the officers or whatnot were just like sitting there like, you know, oh, we don't want to put this to the press and we don't want to do this. And, you know, they were deciding if they should have put in what the Zodiac Killer told them to put into the newspaper. You know, they wanted to see his letter. He wanted to see something else. And they were just, you know, just debating. And, you know, came to the conclusion, but the more they sat and waited to do all this and not jump the gun, you know, and get everything going like they should have. I mean, they pretty much all they did was sit in that office and talk and had meetings. When basically, you know, you got 5 murders, 2 of them pretty much like a lover's lane type thing, and one's a taxi driver. You know, you would think one would, oh, and that's another thing. I think that guy that survived the first stabbing, or the shooting, I think it was. No, the stabbing guy, yeah, it was a stabbing. He was the second victim. You know, the second pair of victims. Then the cab driver was the 5th victim. But the second man that was stabbed, he survived. I mean, and even he, I don't even think they saw the vehicle that he was driving in. But for some reason, when he shot the first couple, and when the police arrived, yeah, they had I think they might have had the original broadcast going too. People shot, killed. But as they were sitting in the car and the guy was outside the car, he was still alive, for Christ's sakes, and he's pointing his thumb back like to say, hey, my girlfriend's in the car, or I think she was like a cheating wife or something, but that was crazy. I don't know where they were going with that relationship, but if that kid was still alive, I mean, you would think the cop would just try and get out with as much as he could. Even though being as traumatized as that kid was and hanging on by a thread, because they literally saw the vehicle. And I don't know, maybe everybody that did see this guy did see a vehicle too when he had it. But supposedly he was driving around in a Mustang. Now, if there was a witness that did say, or even if that kid, the first, you know, pair couple, before they died, said something about a Mustang, you know, you would think that damn police station would be really on it. Now, that's the thing with vehicles. Once you get a description vehicle, say so like the Maura Murray case, you got to be on that shit. Even though you ain't got a full license plate. I mean, there should be a law that if you're driving that vehicle, you could rightfully get pulled over and be searched. You know, if you don't got nothing to hide, what are you worried about? Why not let that vehicle get searched if you got a replica or it looks like it, you know? And I'm about to think that, yeah, them first 2 victims, either guy let alone, said something about a Mustang. Because they used it in the movie, whether or not they knew it or not. But, you know, and this thing was kind of funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but Robert Downey Jr. gets this card as he's opening up mail, talking to the comic book cartoonist. He opens up this card to this. Where is it? Right here. I don't know if this is another piece, but it looks like the cab driver. Because I think he might have sent 2 pieces of the cab driver's shirt. Because this happened after the damn cab driver got shot in September. So this was October going into Halloween. And it looked like the cab driver's shirt looked like this. In the first, as soon as that murder got, exposed with the cab driver, he sent the shirt in so they would know it was him that did it. And also he did some other stuff, a description. Damn it, of what the scene looked like and everything. But Robert Downey Jr., man, opens this up. Literally jumps out of his seat and screams, "Oh, no, not me that!" And he's screaming, "That better not be a shirt." Beats it. Oh, Jesus. The guy, the comic book guy, the drawer is over here like, wow. You see him as Robert Downey Jr. is playing off, yelling and screaming, "Oh, Jesus Christ." He's like, wow. He's all mesmerized by it. But as you see what he wrote, I mean, he didn't write, but what was in the card. Happy Halloween, 14, And from your secret pal, it says, of course, what a better card to send, huh? I feel into my bones you ache to know my name, and so I'll clue you in. And yeah, just comes out with this. But another thing that caught my eye, and I don't even think it even got looked at. But as soon as he opened this card, damn it, Robert Downey Jr., this is on the back. I don't know, if this was like, maybe it wasn't in the movie because maybe this was like the maker of the card, but whatever that is, and I ain't never seen no card made by that. And I mean, I tried to get the best shot as he moved his hand because it did show a better, glimpse of that side of the card, and it was the back, of course. I couldn't get it. It all kept going to this, so whatever was on that card, I mean, I'd like to know if it's either by the maker of the card or if it is be by the Zodiac Killer. But, yeah, this is just, like I say, folks, you can step into this story, it's going to be mind-blowing, and it will be obsessive. Especially now, right, when you got these, cryptic, notes that still, astrology, a belt of heavens. This is what the Zodiac stands for. And I'm about to wonder if anything in this has anything to do with the Zodiac Killer and his cryptic messages. A belt of the heavens within about 8 degrees either side of the ecliptic, including all apparent positions of the sun, moon, and most familiar planets. It is divided into 12 equal divisions or signs. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, all the birth, signs for people. But I wonder if anybody looked into this, including all apparent positions of the sun and the moon. So I'm about to wonder if the Zodiac Killer ever did that. Lined up his victims under the sun. Or let alone murder scene. I mean, like I say, that book, Time 17, he was doing all kinds of directions and degrees, right? Location spots. But I wonder how much of this zodiac definition plays a role or a part into the zodiac killings. Familiar planets. I wonder how many people had what their signs were. I mean, it could mean nothing, but it's something to think about. And even if he did use something in the means of trying to, but you had to decipher the words through the zodiac alphabet, of course. If anything of the positions of the sun or the moon would have led them to something quicker, led him to, one of his murderings quicker. But, yep. That is a crazy story. He had big balls of steel, boy, doing what he did. Especially exposing his face. But I want to see what this one says. And they don't show this one deciphered in the movie, so go back to this. Get as many letters I can off of this. So I can, yeah, that's right. Check out what that other thing says. This one, like I say, was already deciphered. And that's another thing in the movie now. Now they send this one, the second one. Why? I would like to know what happened to these people that did decipher the first one. And if they did a second one. I mean, I still got to look further into the movie, but man, it is very interesting, boy. It is a mind-blowing experience, and you could be on this case for years, just even starting over. I mean, I think that's what they should do, is really start over. Or let alone DNA. Where is that piece of blooded clothing? And a mistake they did too, I believe it was in this, that they, oh yeah, this piece of evidence, the car, I mean, even though the guy wore gloves, there was a piece of evidence that everybody just kept touching in the movie and saying, come here more, you gonna come around here. Touch this piece of article. It's like, what the? And that's the thing, that's one of the main things, boy. Especially if you got an investigation location and everybody just run right in there. But I don't know. Like I say, I'm going to diddy-daddle around with this. Do as much as I can, but I'm sure I'll have more photos on this. And more deciphering to do, but I got to watch another hour and a half of this movie. God damn. Something to think about, folks. Something to think about. And there's little clues in here that they didn't even look up to or even in to say so if they could use them words right there. If they mean anything. But They didn't say nothing if that was the maker's signature, thing for the card, or, he wrote something on the back of it. And everybody was just more concerned about the bloody piece of clothing, so. Yeah, this is another story, folks, that'll keep you mind guessing for years. But till that next video, folks, gonna do some more research. Gonna go see what I get out of deciphering that thing. But until that next video, be safe, take care, always beware. Because if he's still alive, he's still out there, people. That's right. Zodiac Killer never got caught. He rightfully could still be out there. But then again, what the hell's an old man gonna do walking around with his cane? Someone ought to kick his cane and beat him. Yeah. But if anybody's curious, them last set of words, I think them are it too. If anybody's ready to get into the most extreme case of all time of trying to put things together, they're the words, folks. What can you crack out of them? I do see the pit, and I think these are the words in that pit. I do believe there might be a pit with some last ending victims. Out.